What's going on, guys, and welcome back to Into the Pit. I am Dr. Gutts.
I'm Hellhound.
And don't forget, guys, we are doing a Q&A video very soon. We need more questions. We only have a few right now. The more questions, the better. If you've already asked a question, feel free to ask more. We are not opposed to that. Any questions that can be music-related, movie-related, literally anything, just ask us questions, and we will get to them in a video coming up.
Yeah, send as many questions as you want.
Absolutely.
We're going to questions.
So, on this week's episode, we're going to talk about black metal. And we're going to be talking about our top 5 black metal albums with some caveats. We're not repeating any bands, and we're not including like the proto-black metal stuff like Venom,
First Wave,
Merciful Fate, like that kind of stuff. We're sticking with
Celtic Frost.
Strictly what what I guess we think of when we think of black metal. And oddly enough, our number 5 ended up being the exact same thing.
We're the same number 5. What are the odds?
So yeah, we kind of brought each other our list, and we're like, oh,
taste.
would you look at that? So both of our collective number 5s were both Under a Funeral Moon by Darkthrone.
Under a Funeral Moon. Oh yeah.
So really, any of Darkthrone's early albums could have been included on this list. But for me, it's the guitar work, the riffs, and this album that really brought it through as the reigning Darkthrone album for me. The title track, Under a Funeral Moon, in my opinion, has one of the best guitar riffs in black metal, period.
I agree. Yeah, it was a tough choice between this and Transylvanian Hunger.
Blaze in the Northern Sky.
Blaze in the Northern Sky. Even Panzerfaust, which I like a lot. Yeah. I think this was the last album featuring Zephyrus. Who I think was previously like rhythm guitar, but this album he played lead, and Nocturno Culto actually played bass guitar and did vocals. Their lineup switched around like so many times, and we always had Fenriz on drums, but sometimes he played guitar, sometimes he did vocals. But the core lineup is Fenriz and Nocturno Culto, and Nocturno Culto is one of my favorite black metal vocalists of all time for sure. Like he's in my probably top 10 easily, and we don't we haven't really talked about black metal too much, but
we're both huge fans of black metal.
Yeah.
We just kind of when we're going about making these videos, we kind of like choose a topic and just go about it. So we're like, wait, we haven't done black metal. Let's get into some black metal because we both love black metal as well.
Yeah, exactly. We really do.
So coming up on that, like Darkthrone's a perfect choice. I mean, they are quintessential black metal. They are very ambient, very like. I don't want to say like raw because they have decent production for being black metal, but it's still that very cold, very like visceral sound, which is really cool and very indicative of black metal as a whole.
Like the buzzsaw sounding guitars and stuff.
Yeah, it's very shrill. It's very ambient. I think that's what I like the most about black metal is the ambiance. That does a lot for me.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And this album is just chocked full of that, and it's really good stuff.
It's another perfect black metal album to listen to during the winter time while walking through like a forest with snow on the ground and the trees glistening with ice on them, icicles hanging from them and stuff. Just put this album in your player, your iPod, whatever, put the headphones and walk around during the winter time. It really fits.
Yeah, it's really good atmosphere. It's a great winter vibe.
Great mood, great tone.
Absolutely.
So yeah, Under a Funeral Moon for both of our number 5.
So my number 4 is actually a more modern album, and it is Sworn to the Dark by Watain.
Good choice.
I love Watain. I know there's a lot of elitists who kind of hate on him and whatnot, but I genuinely love Watain. I think they're an incredible band. I think they put out some amazing black metal records. And Sworn to the Dark is my favorite of all of them. I think it has some of the most incredible songs, some of the best composed songs. Like the guitar work is insane. Eric's vocals are disgusting. Like they're horrifying. And it's all around. It's a borderline perfect album in my opinion. It has songs I love, like we talked about in the outro video with the Serpent's Chalice. It has big outros in the songs like that. Very ambient, very heavy. And it has very thrashy moments as well, which I'm a huge fan of thrash, so that does it for me as well. And all around, I really love this record.
I agree. Yeah, Watain's excellent. Definitely one of the best black metal bands, and as you said, kind of like underrated and regarded by the more elitist people as not cult enough or whatever. But
yeah, and their live show is insane. I saw them live, and they had like animal parts and stuff. The whole place stunk.
Oh yeah, pure black metal.
It was amazing
show.
But yeah, Lawless Darkness almost made this list for me, But I decided to edge it out with Sworn to the Dark because I do like it better. I do think it is a better album overall. I think the songs on it are more consistent. Whereas, like, Lawless Darkness is good, but, like, Malfeitor is so big above the other songs on that album, in my opinion, that this Sworn to the Dark is more of a complete album from start to finish, in my opinion.
Hell yeah, I can agree with that. Yeah, Watain rules. Check them out if you haven't already. Yeah, my number 4 is actually Bathory, Under the Sign of the Black Mark, and it was a very close one between this one and Bloodfire Death, but I went with this one. I gave this one the edge over it slightly, only because it's a little more black metal, sounding like a little more true black metal. And I realize they're kind of regarded in like the first wave of black metal with Celtic Frost, Merciful Fate, and Venom, but like I feel like they were the closest out of those to like the second wave of black metal, and like they were kind of still releasing albums around that time too. They were kind of part of the second wave too. And yeah, Corthan's just incredible. Like the man's just too talented for his own good. And, like he did pretty much everything on these albums. Yeah, he did vocals, played guitar, everything, all instruments. He was a genius.
He was a god,
songwriting.
Like a musical god. Yeah. Corthan is one of my favorite musicians of all time. This album is so good. It is so good. It almost made my list, but it didn't, and you'll find out why momentarily. But this album is so good from start to finish. I love every song on it. Like Hellhound said over here, it's pure black metal in its purest regard. It is very fast. It is very aggressive. It's very in your face. It has that like punk tinge to it that some early black metal had, where they were kind of just very in your face, very DIY, which is very cool. And this album is amazing. I love it. If you haven't listened to it, you need to. It's really good. I would say it's one of the top black metal albums of all time.
Yeah, very evil and satanic sounding. Just pure, unadulterated black metal. Call from the Grave is a great song. Into the Eternal Fire. It's all just, it just slays.
Yeah, and the album flows very well too. Like, definitely. Each song is positioned very well on the album, which is something that I think is a very underrated thing when it comes to building an album. Definitely. Is how the album flows from song to song, and this album is flawless in that regard.
They were perfectly arranged too. Like there couldn't have been a better order, like with the tracks.
Yeah, and it was all Corthan. That's really impressive.
Oh yeah, he's like.
So the reason that didn't make my list is because my number 3 is also Bathory, and it's Bloodfire Death. So
great choice.
So as Hellhound said, it's less black metal than some of their earlier stuff. It's more of the turning point when they started becoming the more Viking metal influenced band, but it was still very black metal. And the reason that this album is so important to me is it was the big album that got me into black metal. Basically, I've always been a huge fan of like death metal, thrash metal, things like that. And I had some friends who were really into black metal, and I went over to their house one time. It was like a late autumn night. We had a bonfire in the back, and they played this album, and there was like a slight breeze, and like with the intro of the album, Odin's Ride Over Nordland, is just that it has the wind blowing. There's like some chains. You have like the horses neighing, and then you have like almost a marching sound come through, and it just the vibe with that really clicked with me, and it's stuck with me since then. And this album holds a special, special place in my heart. And then it's followed up by A Fine Day to Die, which I
love that song.
Yeah, I
love it so much.
I think it's one of the greatest songs ever written.
Definitely one of the best black metal songs.
Yeah, like I said, like I said, for me, irregardless of genre, I think it's one of the greatest songs, period, ever written.
It starts out slow and melodic and kind of ominous. And then it gets faster, and then like all those awesome riffs. It's loaded with like so many different awesome black metal riffs. And then it goes into the fast, heavy part, like he's screaming, the awesome lyrics.
It has some very Slayer-esque solos in it.
Yes.
Really shreddy solos, which is really cool to hear in black metal because you don't hear a big guitar solo too often, and this song has them. And it's really cool, and the whole album as a whole is just perfect for me. I love everything about Bloodfire Death by Bathory.
Yeah, it's excellent. It probably is my favorite album by Bathory, but I chose Under the Sign of Black Mark only because it's like slightly more black metal feel to me. And I didn't want us to have like too many of the same albums. Also, but yeah, Corthan was a god. Yeah, my number 3, a very obvious choice, but I think it's popular for good reason, is De Mysteris Dom Satanis by Mayhem. Now, this album was in the making for a long time. Like, they were trying to put this album out for a long time. So many lineup changes and so many crazy things happened in between. But this is their debut album, believe it or not. They had like a few EPs and like the live album Live in Leipzig that preceded this. Now, the thing about this album is, I am one of the people who thinks that it would have been way better if they had Dead on vocals.
Absolutely.
He was my favorite Mayhem vocalist. Maniac's up there too, but I think Dead was definitely like the quintessential Mayhem vocalist, and he was black metal. Like he lived he just oozed black metal. I mean, the guy would bury his clothes in the dirt, and then he would wear them the next day. He would carry around dead animals with him and smell them before performances, just to get the stench of death in his nostrils. He always told people his blood froze in his veins. He was black metal. Him and Euronymous are definitely a huge influence. They definitely inspired the entire second wave of black metal. And the thing is, on this album, this was after Dead shot himself. And read that whole story because it's crazy. The Dead's corpse can be seen on the cover of Dawn of Black Hearts.
Yeah, Dawn of Black Hearts.
And
it's a bootleg.
Yeah, it's a bootleg.
I think live recording.
Live bootleg,
yeah.
And Euronymous, the guitarist, put like pieces of his skull, like, and made a necklace and all this other crazy stuff. Look that up because it's like a whole other video. But on this album, they had the vocal talents of Attila Chihar. Now, as I said, I don't like him quite as much as Dead, but I think it does fit what they were trying to do in this album. A lot of these songs can be heard in the live album that I mentioned with Dead on vocals, and I do kind of find them superior. But Attila Chihar, wow, I've never heard vocals quite like that. He sounds like
weird.
he sounds like an animal. He sounds so inhuman. He sounds like a pissed off demon. And I don't even you can't call it singing for sure. It's vocals, but
woman.
Yeah, it's really really creepy and scary. And there's even a part on the title track where he sings kind of like a weird operatic style, and it's like so different from the tone of the rest of the album. And now the lineup here. Varg Vikernes from Burzum, aka Count Grishnak, or whatever, he played bass on the album because Necro Butcher, who, is pretty much the founder of the band, he's like the longest lasting member, he left because of the suicide of Dead and the murder of,
Euronymous.
Yeah, Euronymous. Varg Vikernes actually killed Euronymous. Look up that whole story. It's very, it's all over the place. It's, if you look at black metal, you're going to run into that story somewhere. And this is the only album I can think of where the murderer and his victim performed on the same recording. I mean, is that not the most black metal thing ever? And there was Hellhammer on drums. Yeah, there's Hellhammer right there, and Euronymous, who he's like the godfather of black metal, at least in my opinion.
He's the godfather of the black metal riff, at least, if nothing else.
Sure. Yeah, like he had a dungeon. He had a dark dungeon in a basement that was like a metal shop, and he only sold like certain albums that he considered cult and
he had to deem them worthy.
Yeah, it was such a crazy scene, listen to this album, turn all the lights out, light some candles, maybe sit in the middle of the room, maybe even draw a pentagram on the floor, I don't know, and blast this album. Whatever you want to do.
I think, in my opinion, this is the only good Mayhem album, in my opinion. I don't really like their other albums.
I can see that.
I do like some of their early stuff. I like Death Crush. Death Crush is great. I like Live at Leipzig, but for actual LPs, this is the only one I actually really like by them. I do love this album. I do prefer Dead on vocals, but in the recording we have Attila, and he gets it done. He definitely gets it done. I've seen them live with him, and he did a really good job. I actually saw a pretty good lineup. It had Hellhammer and Necro Butcher were also there, so that was good. I'm actually going to go see them again in December, and they're actually playing this album in its entirety, so that'll be really cool. And actually, there's a one-off recording of Dead singing "Freezing Moon" or whatever it is. I'm blanking.
Freezing Moon.
Yeah. So it's that in my opinion is the greatest black metal recording ever. It's so good. If you haven't heard it, I would say check it out.
Funeral Fog, Pagan Fears.
It's so good.
Great songs. The title track.
Mayhem's awesome. I mean, they're kind of the ones that kind of sparked the whole
Definitely.
The whole change in like style and tone and atmosphere and the way black metal musicians carried themselves. They were the ones who kind of pioneered that.
Yeah, their whole lifestyle too. Like they were like this in real life too. Even when they weren't recording and making music, like if people think that like hip hop artists and gangsters are scary or whatever, they would crap their pants if they heard some of the stories of what these black metalers did. Sacrificing animals and performing demonic rituals and just all the crazy stuff. They weren't posers, that's for sure. They actually lived
one of the
few
few genres where the musicians do what they sing about.
Yes. Exactly.
Impressive.
And what they do in real life is probably even more brutal.
Yeah.
What they sing, burning down churches and killing each other pretty much and all that stuff. It's
so
just wild.
On to my number 2.
Wicked.
I have Let the Devil In by Sargeist. Now, Sargeist is my current favorite black metal band. I love Sargeist so much. Every album they've put out has been so good. I had a lot of debate on what album I was going to put on this list, but I ended up going with Let the Devil In because it's probably my favorite overall by them. Again, more modern black metal, but it is incredible. This album kills from start to finish. It has so much atmosphere and so much emotion within each song that it really, really blows my mind every time I listen to it. It's haunting, it's evil, it's emotional, it has a lot of melancholy to it. It's all around a beautiful, perfect album, and I honestly can't say enough about this album. I could talk about it all day. It is just so good. If you haven't listened to Sargeist, please do yourself a favor. Check out all of their albums, but mainly check out Let the Devil In. It is so good.
Yeah, he actually introduced me to Sargeist, and as soon as he played the song for me, I was immediately hooked. And they're probably like my favorite of like the more modern, more current black metal bands. And I know that a lot of the elitists, the people who only listen to black metal and that's it. They want to be cult and stuff. I'm sure probably they'll say that like they're too new and like they're only want to listen to the original
actually,
Norwegian
Sargeist
black
is one
metal
of the
scene.
few ones.
Oh well, good,
Yep.
good.
I've actually seen like the elite scene, and Sargeist is actually one of the more liked bands.
Nagelfar didn't come from Norway. They're not
which is weird, like because Sargeist is so good. Like this album, like it has so many songs that are just like so memorable for me. Like you have "Discovering the Enshrouded Eye," you have the title track "Let the Devil In," "Empire of Suffering." It's so good. I can't say enough about this album other than it's just phenomenal. It's a perfect album. It would have been my number 1 if another album didn't exist.
There's much better production too, compared to like some of the older black metal releases. I know that was kind of a staple of black metal, kind of like bad production. Like that was kind of part of their raw, gritty sound. But I think it works in Sargeist's favor. They're a little more polished, a little more clear.
Yeah, and I mean, and don't take it the wrong way. They're not a polished band by any means.
Yeah,
they are still black metal. They're still raw for most standards, but they are more polished in terms of black metal.
I was being compared to like the original, so I don't mean any like like Bob Rock and Metallica or anything like that.
At least on this album, it's a little more cleaned up than it is on a few of their other albums. They have some very, very, very necro sounding stuff as well.
Oh yeah, dude.
Check them out if you haven't.
All right, my number 2, another obvious choice, I know, but again, I think it's up high for a reason.
It's so good though.
Yeah, that'd be "In the Night Side Eclipse" by Emperor, which not only has like some of my favorite artwork for a CD as well, but some of my favorite music. Now, this is another perfect album to listen to while you're walking around in the woods during the wintertime. It really fits. It gives a really icy, really cold atmosphere. I love the mood that this album gives me. And I really listen to it. It has such a visceral, ethereal sound. And just like I feel like I'm on another plane of existence. Ishan and Samoth were really on their game here. This is the debut album, and unfortunately, I don't think that they ever really captured this magic again. I don't think they ever bettered themselves. But they have some other good material. But this is definitely the definitive Emperor album. It is the quintessential black metal record. This is a must-own if you're a fan of black metal. It's just excellent. Beyond the Great Vast Forest, that it starts off with that scream and then that awesome haunting melody that'll stay with you forever. It's so ominous and just so eerie and deep and melancholic. It's incredible. I mean, this album it still blows me away. I've heard it 1,000 times and I can never get tired of it. Wow.
This album was this close to being my list. I love this album so much. I really do. But it came down to narrowing things down. It just didn't make the cut. But that's not saying anything because I think this is a borderline perfect album. It has also has a cover of "A Fine Day to Die" on it by Bathory off Bloodfire Dead.
Yes. A very good one, too.
It's a very, very good cover.
And also a cover of Merciful Fate's "Gypsy" as well from "Don't Break the Oath." And Ishan actually does the high-pitched falsettos really well. It's awesome. It's excellent. Yeah, those are 2 of the best covers I've ever heard. "Fine Day to Die" and "Gypsy." And those are 2 of my favorite songs.
Same.
And done one of my favorite bands.
Yeah, so it's really cool to hear, especially with how well they do it.
It's perfect.
And like this album, like you said, it's the quintessential cold weather album. Like it is really grim. It has amazing, amazing atmosphere. It sounds very desolate while at the same time being very, as you said, ethereal and haunting. It's phenomenal.
And Ishan and them, I don't think they really lived by the black metal code quite as much as some of their peers. Like, they did have a bassist who stabbed a homosexual man to death in the forest, but aside from that, aside from that, I don't think they really sacrifice animals or burn down churches or any of that thing. They were a little more about the music, which I can definitely respect, and I admire that. I'm sure back then some of their metal peers like Varg Vikernes thought that they were not cult enough or whatever, but yeah, I don't care. I think they're a lot better than some of those other bands anyway. They're probably my favorite black metal band overall. Yeah. That's a close one. Alright, so the thing is, we both have the same number one. We said the same number one choice of coincidence, and we have very similar taste. But before we reveal that, I want to just do some honorable mentions real quick.
Absolutely.
We have The Somber Lane by Dissection. Great album. Definitely a black metal must-have. The very first Bathory album, the self-titled debut, which is a must-own. Try to look for the cover with the yellow, the goat's head, the yellow eyes or whatever, because it's a little more rare and it's a collector's item. This is the more common release.
Yeah, and that album is one of the most iconic shirts you can have too.
Yes.
If you own that shirt and you haven't,
you're awesome.
But if you haven't cut the sleeves off, you're not awesome. The sleeves have to come off. The
sleeves have to go.
And then it's the perfect metal shirt.
Damn right, I agree, man. Transylvania Hunger by Dark Throne, which I said almost made the list. Yeah. A Blaze in the Northern Sky by Dark Throne. Pure Holocaust by Immortal. I really wanted Immortal to be on my list because they're one of the best black metal bands ever by far. Abath, Doom Occulta, and Demonaz Doom Occulta are true black metal legends in every way. They would probably be my number 6. This album probably be number 6. They very closely. They really almost made the list.
This album almost made my list as well.
Yeah, Under the Sign of Hell by Gorgoroth. I love Gorgoroth. I also really love Pentagram. Yeah, and I think this is the first one, the first full one with Pest on vocals. He did sing on the previous album, but he kind of shared vocal duties with Hat.
This album has that weird-ass song where he has those really weird vocals. I forgot what song it is, but he has these. There's one song where he has these really weird vocals. It's I don't know what's happening.
I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Infernus is a true black metal legend as well.
Absolutely.
Also, Dark Medieval Times by Satyricon. That's definitely an essential black metal record. I love Satyricon. I think this is their best album by far. Secrets of the Black Arts by Dark Funeral.
Also,
another great album. It's the only one.
So good, man.
Yeah, it's excellent. It's the only album featuring Thimgoroth on bass and vocals. And I think this is the last one with Black Moon, rest in peace, on guitars as well. Lord Ahriman is another black metal legend. And this was before they got Emperor Magus Caligula on vocals. And in some ways, I actually prefer Thimgoroth, actually.
I do as well. The gates, but, Satan. Open the Gates off the EP was incredible. Yeah. But off this album, Shadows Over Transylvania is one of the greatest black metal songs
I have that EP too, Into the Dark or whatever.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah, it's excellent. I had to include something by Carpathian Forest in my honorable mentions. I think they're really underrated, like Nat Frost and all them.
Good band.
Yeah, they're guys. So this is Strange Old Brew. This is one of their better albums. I think they have a lot of good albums, and as I said, they're kind of overlooked and neglected. I feel among black metal fans, which is a shame. These
covers.
Yeah, I know. They keep sliding out. But yeah. If you pass over them, I'd say you're missing out if you're a fan of black metal. Also, Det Sum Ingang Var. I'm not going to pretend like I pronounced that right. By Burzum. I also really like Philosophim and that other one.
All right, let me break the fourth wall for a second. I was actually going to include Burzum on my list, but I couldn't pronounce the album correctly and didn't want to butcher it, so I didn't use them. But the album was A Dead Guy Laying in a Ditch, one of my favorite albums of all time. That's easily my number 5, maybe even number 4. But I'm not going to sit here and pretend I know how to pronounce that, because I don't.
Yeah, sorry if we mispronounce any of these words. I don't speak Norwegian. Yeah. I can't do it very well. I apologize. I know you might be, if you're like a true black metal fan, and you think I'm a poser for that, but I apologize. I don't know.
So, our shared number one, and possibly greatest album of all time. It's up there for me. If you watch our top 10 album lists, I discuss this album ad nauseum. I love it so much, and this would have to be Storm of the Lights Bane by Dissection. My God, this album is flawless. And I don't say that lightly. I'm not a person who's like, oh, this is perfect, this is flawless. This is perfect, this is flawless.
Yeah, this really
This album is so good from start to finish. It's everything you could ever want in black metal and so much more. It's melodic, it's grim, it's dark.
It's frostbitten.
It's very frostbitten. It's true Cavilt. But no, it's so good. It's got the most amazing guitar work I've ever heard in any album ever, period.
Wow.
And I know, everybody knows Death's my favorite band, whatever. This has the greatest guitar work in any album of all time ever, and I will stand by that.
John Nightlight is probably my favorite black metal guitarist.
It's so good.
And I feel like he really put his heart into it, and he really worked hard on those really structured, really melodic riffs and solos, and his incredible, breathtaking leads are really a testament to how great Dissection really was. And it's a shame that, Storm of the Light's Bane and then the Somberlane were such great albums. He went to prison after that. I would have loved to have seen more material from Dissection, because Rain Chaos,
yeah.
It wasn't really as good. It wasn't really a worthy follow-up to
it wasn't
these great albums.
Bad album if it was by any other band that wasn't Dissection. Because Dissection put out two of the greatest black metal albums of all time. If that caveat wasn't there that we said before of not repeating any bands, my top two would be Storm of the Light's Bane and Somberlane.
Definitely.
Because I love Dissection so much. I think they hit the nail on the head when it came to perfect black metal. It was still very raw, very visceral, but it was beautiful. And I mean that to the highest regard. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing to hear.
Very well written.
Incredibly well written,
heartfelt.
incredibly well composed. Every single note in every single song of this whole album has meaning, has purpose. Everything's there. Everything's there for a reason. The lyrics are incredible. The vocals are incredible. The drums, the bass, everything is as on point as you can possibly be in any kind of music, period.
And after you close this video out, after you're done watching, go check out Where Dead Angels Lie. Go look up that song, because you have to hear it if you haven't heard it already.
Possibly one of the greatest songs ever written.
Easily.
In any genre of music. It's so good.
So moving, so compelling, so insightful. It moves me every time.
Yeah, it's so good.
Very powerful stuff. Very effective.
Absolutely.
And John Nightlight, rest in peace. He was another one of the black metal legends who lived by that lifestyle, even though they were in Sweden. I think Swedish black metal is just as good as Norwegian.
Yeah, it's very. It's typically more melodic and very good. I mean, I love Swedish music, Swedish death metal.
I think
we're not talking about death metal, but I was about to for a second. I got to stop myself. But Swedish music, black metal, death metal, whatever.
I think the guitar playing is a little more technical, more precise as well.
Yeah, that's where a lot of the melody comes from.
Definitely.
Like the Gothenburg sound and all of that kind of comes from the same type of thing. But alright guys, that's our top 5 list of our top 5 favorite black metal bands.
I forgot to mention Marduk. They should have been in this somewhere.
Marduk almost made my list. Marduk is a very,
Heaven Shall Burn,
very
When We Were
band.
Gathered, Opus, Nocturne, Nightwing, all great albums.
Yeah, so good.
Marduk's excellent. I got a bunch of their albums.
Marduk's
I got a live DVD. It's really good when they first got Mortis on vocals. I like Legion a lot too. And I loved Grave, the drummer, when he did vocals. But anyway, more on Marduk in a future video.
Absolutely. So make sure to like and subscribe, guys. And also, if you're interested, on my channel, I just posted my first metal video. I'm actually doing something that Hellhound has been working on, which is rating the Big Four's albums. So I started doing that as well. I really like the idea, so I decided to give my take on that. So if you head over to my channel, you will see that as well. And I would appreciate it if you'd like and subscribe. Follow over there.
Definitely check it out to see his take on the, he did the debut albums from the Big Four. His list's pretty similar to mine. I won't dare give it away, but definitely check it out. I think you'll be pleased. He did a great job.
I'll be doing the sophomore albums next weekend as well, so definitely be on the lookout for that. And don't forget, guys, like I said in the beginning of the video, we are doing a Q&A. Leave some questions in the comments below. We will get to them in an upcoming video. And as always, guys, keep it metal.
Later.